Hi, this is Tom Austin, original member of the Royal Teens. I co-wrote the song Short Shorts with Bob Gaudio back in the 1950s. Let's go straight to the top of the charts.
Go straight to the top of the charts. Go straight to the top of the charts. From 10 to 1, you got a show number one when you go straight to the top of the charts. Top of the charts, top of the charts. That song's gonna climb to the top. When you go straight to the top of the charts. When you go straight to the top of the charts. When you go straight to the top, right to the top. When you go straight to the top of the charts.
A big welcome to a VIP guest, Tom Austin, who played drums and co-wrote songs with the Royal Teens. What a buzz it is to have you on the show, Tom.
Well, thank you very much. It's really my pleasure to be here. I'm all the way over here in New Jersey in the United States, and you're in Melbourne, correct?
That's right, Melbourne, Australia. Now let's go back to 1958, because you know what it's like to go top of the charts, and that song Short Shorts. I got to tell you, the fact you co-wrote it and go into the story, but I got to tell you, the best cover version in the world is done by Freddie and the Dreamers. It's all over the net, and they love it as much as they love his other song, which is called Do the Freddie. That was a dance about.
It's great to hear. Also, you know, it's funny, but in Japan, there's a thing called the Tomori Club. Have you heard of that? And their theme song is Short Shorts, and it's been playing for years and years every night.
Can I ask you, did you ever meet Freddie and the Dreamers, the band?
I never did. Nope, I never did. No.
How did you find out that they released the song, Freddie and the Dreamers?
Well, see, as the writer of Short Shorts, I would get royalties from what they did whenever the song is played anywhere. The real writers, the writers get the royalties. You know, I'd see it on my statements.
But would it say Freddie and the Dreamers on the statements from the UK?
No, it would just give you the breakdown of the statements. You know, where they came from, and but it would be under. There's a lot of categories. For example, the song is played on airplanes. It was the Nair commercial. It's in the Jersey Boys show. It's believe it or not, it's in American baseball. I get paid from the baseball teams when they play it. It's in the movies, you know, the Jersey Boys movies have been in other movies. It's a miracle that it went as far as it did. And we wrote that song driving up the street in Bergenfield, New Jersey, seeing girls with cut-off jeans. We didn't know what to call our new song. I said to Bob Gaudio, I said, you know what? Let's call it Short Shorts. But you have to realize back in those days, to mention girls in cut-off jeans at all was very risque. Radio stations wouldn't play the song in the beginning because they thought it was, I don't want to say vulgar, but it wasn't like it is today, you know? It was very edgy for its time.
But let me tell you, that's a fun song. The minute you whistle and he plays the guitar along with the whistle, same sound, that is a record. That's a classic. That is a classic record. That's it. Did you do the whistle on the recording?
Yes. I'm lucky I still can do it.
Yeah, but let me tell you, were you the only one whistling or
Yes.
anyone else whistle?
No, just me.
That's a world-class exclusive just there.
Well, now you heard it. You heard it live.
That's it, exactly. Even better. Now, seriously, how did the song come to you? I want to get into your songwriting process, you and Bob, specifically about that song. Did you saw the image of the girls and then the song came to you? How did it come to you?
No, there was a melody. Bob Gaudio had started, you know, we had an opportunity to back up other groups in recording studio, you know, but they wouldn't, we were playing the music because we were musicians and everybody else, we were doing everybody's music, but they wouldn't give us our chance. But Gaudio and I were hanging out. We were very close back there. I'll tell you what's really amazing about Bob Gaudio and I. Our birthdays are one day apart. Okay, November 16th, November 17th. When we didn't see each other for several years, I looked in the newspaper one day, the day I got married for the first time, and saw our thing. Right next to mine was Bob Gaudio getting married on the same day. We both have granddaughters born the same day in the same year. Isn't that amazing? Really?
It's uncanny. I've never heard of it. He's like your long lost brother.
It's really shocking. He didn't have any brothers or sisters, neither did I. When I saw him at the premiere of the Jersey Boys show on Broadway, he had sent me tickets for the premiere, so my wife and I went over there and we got to chit chat a little bit. He was telling me about a boat he had, a big boat. I said, I have a big boat too. It was just so many ironic things that was so, the only difference was he wrote 100 good songs. I wrote about 4,
Doesn't matter. You can write thousands and they remember you for 2.
Yeah, well, I remember that Short Shorts. We had another big one that was #1 in Italy, which was called Believe Me. I don't know if you know that one, but that was a good one.
The amazing thing is all your videos are on YouTube, and I want people to go there, but I also want you to tell them that the website that you have that's fantastic. Just give us the address of that while we're talking about the internet.
Well, it's theroyalteens.com, the official website of the Royal Teens. That was put together by the people who do the blog for Jersey Boys out in Las Vegas. And they did a beautiful job on that. And you'll see us do a video. We have a video going there. You just hit the button on it. You'll see a whole discography of all the songs the Royal Teens did. You can read the whole story of how we put that group together and things like that. And a lot of old photographs of us back in the day,
Now, the amazing thing, I'm just saying, you're the drummer, and Bob, he was the tallest person in the group, wasn't he?
No, I was. I'm 6'5". Bob Gaudio is 6'2". I have one of my sons is 6'9".
What instrument did Bob play in the band?
Well, he was a keyboard player. He played piano. And in the early days, before electric pianos came out, wherever we played, we would have to play on some broken down piano, and everybody always had a tough time trying to tune up to the thing. And then one day Bob showed up and he had a regular electronic keyboard. It was great. From then on, it was easy,
Can I ask you who played saxophone? It's a tall guy at the front.
A very, very famous guy did it. And his name, in our band, his name was Billy Crandall. He went on to become one of the Knickerbockers, and he changed his name to Buddy Randall. And he was a co-writer of the song Lies.
Yeah,
now,
that's huge.
The reason he dropped out of the Royal Teens was because his father wouldn't let him go on the road with us. He was only 14. I was 17. Bob Gaudio was 16. But the thing was, as soon as Short Shorts came out, immediately the manager that we had booked a tour with us with Buddy Holly and Bill Haley and the Comets, Jerry Lee Lewis and the Everly Brothers. And we toured Florida with them. So we went from literally high school dances one night, and the next night we were on the road with Buddy Holly. So it was quite a beginning.
Can you tell me a little bit about Buddy Holly and the Stars when you met him and what it was like? I really want to know what Buddy Holly was like.
Well, when we first met him, we met him in a baseball stadium down in Florida. He was laying out on a training table, just relaxing. But what we noticed first was he had a British suit on, a very form-fitting suit and high boot. And this was a style we didn't see before, which really got big when the Beatles came on and all that kind of stuff. But it was definitely European. He was very nice. Jerry Allison in the group was nice, and Joe Muldoon and all those. They were very nice to us. But the ones that were really nice to us was Bill Haley band, Bill Haley and the Comets, because they kind of took us under their wing a little bit. One night they called, we were only on stage the first night at, I guess, the Miami Municipal Auditorium. Hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of people were there. And after the show, the drummer there, Ralph Jones, came up to me. He said, "Hey, Tom, you're not playing in a high school band anymore. You guys got to move around on stage." And from that point on, we started bopping. You know?
Did Buddy ever get the guitar and come up to you guys and play a bit, or said, "I'm working on a song"? Or did he ever give anything away, just in conversation?
Well, let me tell you this. When we played the Brooklyn Fox Theater for the Alan Freed shows, okay, Buddy Holly was up there with the Everly Brothers. Joe Villa in our group at the time, he was the lead singer in our group. This was some years later. Joe Villa actually made a record with Buddy Holly, the Everly Brothers, and himself in a hotel room or some crazy thing. I never heard the record. I think I heard it once. It was never released, but it's out there somewhere, you know.
Do you know the name?
No, I don't.
That's something you may try and follow up through a relative or someone or whatever, because, I reckon the world would want to hear that.
Well, the lead singer on our band is a fellow named Eddie Rosanico. And Eddie is in contact with Joe, so maybe he can find out. Eddie's probably watching us right now. Hello, Eddie.
Hi, Eddie. Now, let me tell you, you've been busy, Tom, working on a new song, right? Called Party
Yes.
Down the Jersey Shore. And John
Yes.
Radinsky, our good friend who's a producer, helped you with that. Tell me about this song. I've heard it. It's great.
Yeah, it's something that the great Charlie Calillo wrote, I wrote, and a fellow named Lenny Triatola, who was a music teacher and a high school principal guy who is retired now. And we all got together. We're very fortunate, this new group we put together. Eddie Rosanico was with the Tokens for like 10 years as a singer. Lenny Triatola and Dave Del Barro, they were in the Passions together. Nick Civic was a keyboard player, was on the road all the time with the Belmonts. So, and Diane Montano, our beautiful lead singing woman, she played a lot in Vegas. She was a big hit and worked a lot of big groups. So, I was very fortunate to be able to put a combination like this back together at this stage. The band is 63 or 64 years old now, We've had a lot of fabulous players along the way. But right now, I think we have the best people we ever had, John Serio, a sax player beyond imagination. All the guys are great,
So you guys are looking forward to playing live, obviously. Go out there and play live as soon as you can, because that would be great. People love that.
Well, we're going to play, of course, with the COVID, there's not much going around. It's just beginning to open up, and we just recently got a booking at what they call Let East up here. Let East is it's really like a weekend car show. And we're going to be there with the Tokens, Jay Siegel and the Tokens, and I guess not Shirley Ellis, the Shirelles. They're supposed to be there, and several other groups, But this is big. They have 1,000 cars, 50,000 people walking through that place every year. So we're going to be playing Saturday night, September 4th there. That's going to be a giant show.
That's gigantic. Now, also, you helped write a book. I want you to hold up the book and tell everyone about this fantastic book.
Well, this book is called Another Season. I'll pull it back a little bit. Another Season.
Yeah.
It's the story of Charlie Calillo. And everybody will say, who is Charlie Calillo? I want to put the book down so I can tell you just for a few seconds. It took me 2.5 years to write this with Charlie. Now, Charlie's a music arranger who had 39 hits in the top 10, which is totally amazing. He did Walk Like a Man, Lightning Strikes, My Eyes Adored You, Southern Nights for Glenn Campbell, Lover's Concerto for the Toys, All by Myself, Eric Carmen, Angel of the Morning, Juice Newton, Queen of Hearts, Juice Newton, Candy Girl, Four Seasons, The Name Game, Shirley Ellis, Dawn, Let's Hang On, Swearing to God, I Like Dreaming, Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond, Barbara Streisand, My Heart Belongs to Me. Now, Charlie and I met each other back on the road in the 1950s. And we didn't hang out with each other or know each other, but through fate, maybe about, it happened at the premiere of the Jersey Boys show. After the show, we went to the party, and there we met at what they call the grazing table. Charlie was filling up his plate with food, and so was I. And I said, "Aren't you Charlie Calillo?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm Tom Austin. We met 100 years ago." And he was very gracious and very nice. And then one thing led to the other. Oh, I know. Well, I don't know if you know I'm an artist. Did you know that I do fine art? Did you know that?
No, that's great.
I was commissioned to do the official painting for the Jersey Boys. My art website is tomaustingallery.com. Okay. I have 5 paintings in the permanent collection of the Coast Guard in Washington, D.C. I was commissioned to do the paintings of the Jersey Boys show. That was given to the stars of the show and the producers of the show. Frankie Valli and Gaudio commissioned me to do that, And I sold quite a few of these paintings. I also have prints of those paintings. It's tomaustingallery.com, and you can reach me through my email address, tmaustin@optonline.net. And if you want to order one, they run about $300, but the prints are on canvas, Always pitch.
It's a real good present for somebody.
Yeah. I spent the last 50 years of my life running a real estate business, an appraisal business, besides playing and painting and writing books and having a good time. I have beautiful sons, beautiful wife, I'm a lucky man,
Now, the book's out already, isn't it? They can buy where? From everywhere? Amazon? Where's the book available?
Well, it's at any good bookstore, but if they look it up on Amazon, they can get it. They can even use my email address that I just gave them, tmaustin@optonline.net, and I'll send it to them. I've got, a couple of cases of them here.
And you'll sign it for them, Tom?
Sure I will. There's I wrote 2 other books called Bridge to the Riviera, and the other one is Bill Miller's Riviera, America's Showplace. Both of them you can get from Amazon, or you can email me, and I get them to you. Now, what else do I? It's Tom Austin Rock and Roll and Storm Door Company.
Now, Tom, I've got to ask you. We got to go back now. 1958. What drum kit were you playing? What was the drum kit in the video?
I had a Gretsch set. Gretsch, white pearl, marine pearl. It was called a Gretsch Broadcaster set. And, I love that set. I shouldn't have got rid of it, but it was really good.
Have you stuck with Gretsch?
No, I play, right now I have another set I bought in 1960, a Rogers set, Red Sparkle. And that's a very cool set. Great sound. And I have a William F. Ludwig Dynasonic snare drum, metal snare drum. A Zildjian cymbals, and all the good stuff. And I've had a good time putting together a lot of new pieces for those drums since we fired up the group again. And I get to practice every day now. My house is big enough to leave the drums set up, When I lived at home, my mother used to make me put them away every time I set them up,
Now, I've got to ask you, Tom, because you're there, you've got to understand, 1958, you've got a big hit, Short Shorts. Now, then we have the Beatles coming in 1964. We got the Beach Boys giving the California sound. What was that period like for you musically? Like, how great was it to be there?
Well, for us, it wasn't great because they came in like a giant wave, the Beatles. I remember working in an office then, because our band was going downhill a bit. And I was working as an architectural draftsman. But the girls in the company were going nuts over these Beatles. And, I got to see them and they had all these funny haircuts and said, who the heck are these guys? But boy, they turned out some fabulous things. Just unbelievable. But, you know, we were already has-beens when they came out. You know, I hate to say that, but it's true. We had plenty of resurgencies over the years, but they just shut down everybody in this country when they came out. Freddie and the Dreamers, you know, do all those kind of groups, you know.
But you're impressed with the British invasion coming to America, like Dick Clark 5 and everybody?
Yes, because it started to become a 60s sound, where the Royal Teens at the time were a 50s sound. We were at the end of the 50s. For example, we toured a lot with Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson, Clyde McPhatter, Laverne Baker, Everly Brothers, Frankie Avalon, Fabian, Paul Anka. And we would go out 60, 70 one-nighters with these people on the road, on the bus, you know. And we traveled through the Jim Crow South back then, if you know what that is. That's where the black people had to stay in the black section of town. So you take a big star like Sam Cooke, he was forced to go in the South. You know, it wasn't that way all over the country, but in the Deep South, it was like that. It all changed after the 50s. It all got better, you know. But then it was an amazing experience to us, you know.
I've got to talk about Frankie Avalon, and he had the big hit Venus. And I've got to talk about the Everly Brothers. You've got to tell me some stories about those guys because I love them. It's like I'm hearing it firsthand. You know, now you look back on it, you don't know how amazing that period is. So like someone like me, I've got to hear the story from you because you were there. You may look back and go, yeah, I did it. But when you look back, you reflect, how great was it?
Well, I can remember meeting Frankie Avalon for the first time. When we were down in Philadelphia doing promotion, and we had to go to a warehouse. And in walks this kid all dressed up with a really nice looking red and white sweater and white pants. And we were just dressed like hoodlums, you know. And it was Frankie Avalon. And Frankie Avalon was on a label called Chancellor. Chancellor was a subsidiary of ABC Paramount. We were on ABC Paramount. Lloyd Price was on ABC Paramount. Paul Anka was on ABC Paramount. And so what happened was Frankie was with us for just about our whole career for the next 3 or 4 years. He would sleep. Frankie was short enough to sleep in the bus in the luggage rack over my head. Okay. And we had some wonderful times together. The Everly Brothers were the same thing. They were super friendly to us. They couldn't get over our New York accents, you know. They were from the South, I think North Carolina or someplace. But you know, they just were fascinated by us and were, oh, look at who are these guys, you know. But they turned out to be really good friends. You know, we were very, very much so. We must have played at dozens, if not more, jobs together, dozens, hundreds of jobs. We were constantly with each other, you know. Now, here's an interesting point of fact. Today, one giant group like Bon Jovi can pack a stadium. In those days, it would take 16 acts to pack a stadium, okay? And the cost to get in the show might have been $1.50, you know, for the best seats in the place. So it was so, you know, it's so different today than it was back then. Well, of course, you know, everything is electronic today. You can get to the whole world in 2 seconds by pushing a button. Back then, you had to hang posters on the wall, on telephone poles to get people to come, you know. It was different. You'd have to go to radio stations. And every time you went to the radio station, it was payola. Those guys had their hands out looking for money all the time to play your record, you know. So it was a different world back then, yeah. We paved the way for the new guys, though.
Back then, did the girls go wild? Especially, I'm just saying, did you come across Elvis at any stage?
No, I never did. I never came across Elvis. No. Ricky Nelson, we were with Ricky Nelson a few times. And remember the movie actor Sal Mineo? He was in
of course.
Rebel Without a Cause.
That drama movie too.
Sal Mineo we came across. These were oddities. Jerry Lee Lewis. we got to play the background music for Chuck Berry on several occasions. You know, they would send us out. Well, there was one tour they sent us out on where there were only 4 of us. And they said, okay, you guys are the band for Dion and the Belmonts. I think it was Frankie Ford who had Sea Cruise. I forgot who else. Well, there were several of them. And here we well, Dion and the Belmonts, whatever. And we're the band. We're playing the background music for all these groups. You know? Well, that was very common. When we did working with Buddy Holly, it was the Everly Brothers would come out on stage, and Buddy Holly would back up the Everly Brothers. Buddy Holly and his group, you know, that was common. We'd play in a baseball field.
Do you know which song I really love about Buddy Holly? I'm just saying, Mailman, Bring Me No Blues.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that one, but you know,
check it out. That's a beauty.
Yeah. Well, they one thing I was so impressed with Buddy Holly was I recall being in this big auditorium. Now, keep in mind, there weren't those giant speakers like they have today. Everybody had a speaker not much bigger than a suitcase, the guitar players. But I was in that auditorium, and Buddy Holly, he came on. He was featured. He was on last. We were up in the balcony, Gaudio and I, and we wanted to just go up and catch his show. And he put out so much sound. We said, how did he get that much sound out of that little amp he had there, you know? But he filled that room, and there was just something very magic about it, you know? We played at the Surf Ballroom, where it was the last place he played at, you know? That was over in Clear Lake, Iowa, you know? Now, what was interesting back in those days was on a Saturday night, they still hung on to the big bands, you know, 16-piece bands with a girl vocalist. But on Friday night, it would be rock and roll. So when we were doing it, the transition was taking place between only in the Midwest, big band to rock and roll, the switch over, you know.
I got to say, with that period, I can only imagine there's not really anything for the kids. And now the kids, you go and play live, they must have gone wild.
They did. They did. It was, we were like the Beatles when they came on. I mean, I don't mean to be bragging, but that's the way it was. We were something entirely new to the Sound of Music, and the fans just loved us. We had our moment in the sun, really. And we would have hundreds and hundreds of people asking for autographs, and the girls grabbing our clothes and all of those good things, you know. Yeah, that's the way it was.
Yeah, but that's what it was.
I'm always smiling. I have happy memories.
No internet, pre-internet. You had to use the phone, use the bus. I mean, that's what it was. It was like the new frontier and the new sound, the new frontier of rock and roll.
Yeah, we used to have signals to call our parents because you had long-distance phone charges. So rather than get the long-distance phone charges, what we would do, the parents knew that not to pick up the phone at all. We would ring it twice and hang up, and they knew we were okay. And oftentimes, we would call and get reverse the charges to Tom Austin at home. And hello, is Tom Austin there? No, he's not here. Oh, okay. So we would do that kind of thing, you know. Today, you just get on this little thing right here, and boom, you're all around the world, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. What are some of the stories? I'm just saying, with these artists when you play, can you tell me a couple of stories that you never divulged or told anybody before on this show? Something really interesting about these artists? You can remember a memory or something, or a memento? One of them gave you something, or a guitar or something?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one about Sam Cooke. We were playing in Philadelphia, and our parents came from New Jersey down to Philadelphia to see us. They hadn't seen us in a while. And Sam Cooke had a box that looked like a cake box. And he said to my mother, who everybody was standing outside the bus and everything, He said to my mother, he said, "Would you like a donut?" And my mother said, "Oh, I don't know." And he said, "Here, have one." And he opened the box, and there was a rubber snake in it. He was just pulling a prank. There's stories I can't tell on this show.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of them. Yeah. One time, I'll tell you, one time we were up in Connecticut, and back then I was smoking, and I smoking in bed, and Bob Gaudio, Bob and I always roomed together, and I was smoking in bed, and the bed caught on fire, and I didn't wake up. Bob came out of the bathroom, started beating out the flames, beating out me. He really saved me from that. That teach you don't smoke in bed. We came from a show, and I was exhausted. And we just traveled. We would travel, and sometimes in cars, in the Midwest in the dead of winter, and those cars didn't have 4-wheel drive. They just 2-wheel drive. The drums are up in a vinyl case, not a vinyl case, I guess you call it vinyl, on the roof. Snow, cars off the road, you couldn't stop. You had to just keep going. It was so scary, you were out on your own all over the place, No cell phones in case you needed help. No, you were there, thought you were stranded,
In 1958, when you look back at the cars, I'm just saying, and you saved some money, was there one car that you really wanted to buy? Tell me that car.
You push the right button now. Let me tell you. Well, the song we wrote Short Shorts in, we were making so much money in high school that I went out and bought a brand new 1957 Ford Fairlane 500, red and white. And that's the song we saw the girls in, and we attribute that song to my red and white 57 Ford. But then I went on the road with Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson. Those guys were all driving brand new Cadillacs. When I got off the tour with them, I went out and bought myself a diamond pinky ring and a brand new 1958 Cadillac. And that year, I bought my father a car too. And we were rolling in dough for a while. Yeah, it was really nice.
That's feeling. Unbelievable there, just that story there. And what were cars worth then? $1,500? How much were they?
Let me tell you, that brand new 57 Ford was $2,100. The brand new 58 Cadillac was $4,400. That was the price. And my car, they called it pink, a pink Cadillac. It wasn't pink. It was taupe, but it had a pink shade to it, much like that behind your head up on your, let's see, that'd be your left shoulder, that toward the top of that, in that art thing you got there. Yeah.
Tell me what it was like. You're driving the car and you're listening to the radio. That's all there is, right? And your song comes on the radio. What sort of a buzz did you get the first time you heard your song? And which song was it? Was it Short Shorts?
It was beyond imagination. It was beyond imagination. Now, we only had AM radio back then, and even the recordings were monaural, only AM radio, but we had WINS, which was the big station in New York. When we heard that song, first of all, we thought that any song you got into a studio and recorded was going to be a hit record. We didn't know you could have a flop. We had no idea. And our first record was Short Shorts. But it was tremendous. There's one story. A friend of mine had a brand new 1957 Mercury. He heard Short Shorts, stepped on the gas, got so excited he rolled the car over. He said, "I can't believe it." He said, "I got so crazy listening to your song the first time I turned the damn thing over." Ronnie Sterling was there.
When you're driving a car like that, for example, and you go like we've seen these movies, American Graffiti, and all these movies, and you're actually living it, and you pull up and you buy yourself a burger or a thick shake in a car like that. I mean, you bring attention to yourself. It's like the wildest dream or the wildest ride, really, isn't it?
It really was, and it was. No, but, I didn't get the feeling that anybody was jealous that I had this thing. It was just like, wow. because we could back it up with hit records. You know, it wasn't your daddy bought you that. No, you know, when you got gold records and stuff like that, you're pretty cool. You know.
Now, did you ever go to Dick Clark's American show? What is it called again?
American Bandstand. We did
Yeah,
the
you were on
daytime
that?
show. We did the daytime show for Dick Clark about 13 times. We did his first Saturday night nationally televised show from the Little Theater in New York in 1958, I think it was, in February. And we were the first act on that first show in February of 1958. That was a giant thing to be on. And you know what? If they go to the YouTube, they'll see the performance of us there. We're there on that Dick Clark show, 1958, Little Theater in New York. Your viewers can look that up. And hey, listen, this is funny. Men did not wear short shorts or Bermuda shorts. They didn't do that. You wouldn't be caught dead in that. But McGregor Clothes said they would pay us some nice bucks if we would wear Bermuda shorts on television, on that television show for Dick Clark. We said, nah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. And then they offered the money. We said, all right, let's put them on. And that was the first time that men's Bermuda shorts were on. But they made us wear these ugly black knee-length socks and crappy crepe-soled shoes. It wasn't a nice look, but it was a look, you know. And there we were with shorts.
But I got to tell you, here in Australia, shorts are huge. They've always been part of the culture. We love shorts here because of the weather. It's different scene here.
Well, it became, after we wore them, everybody wore them. You know, it made sense. But at the time, we're talking 1958, men in shorts, that was kind of sissy-ish, you know.
Well, as I said, that girl that played in the film clip, can you tell me a little bit about her?
Yes, her name was Diane Costello. She called herself Diana Lee. We met her through our manager, who was Leo Rogers at the time. She was a singer in her own right, trying to make records, you know, trying to get her own career established. We met her at the office, you know, after we wrote the song, we needed a girl singer. And so we asked her if she'd come and join the group and, you know, perform with us. And she did. And she did a remarkable job. She was the center of attention for us for the first couple of years, you know. And today she's still around. She did a lot of stuff with Dick Clark in later years. I honestly don't know what she's doing now, but she was a lovely young lady. Really nice.
You know, when I saw that clip, and as I said, I'm born in 1958. I'm not meant to say my year, but it's just amazing because that song and At the Hop, to me, that is American, you know, real culture there. You know what I mean? For the youth, that's it.
Well, you know, Danny and the Juniors, they were on ABC Paramount Records also. And we got to work together several times. One of the more important things we did together was make a movie called Let's Rock. We met them the same day we were doing our thing at the Gold Medal Studio for Columbia Pictures. So we saw them. I played golf some years ago with Joe Terry from the group, you know. So they were a wonderful bunch of guys too, you know. We worked with the group called the Crescendos. They had Old Julie. We worked with the Monotones, with Who Wrote the Book of Love. We worked with the Silhouettes, Get a Job. The Ponytails, they were on ABC Paramount. We were with them for a long, long time. Laverne Novak, Tony Sistone, and Patty McCabe, you know. And, oh, they were beautiful girls. We would say, oh, boy, they're nice, you know. And it was just a wonderful time for us, really. It was good.
I'm guessing right from the 50s. I don't want to get right into it, but obviously this kind of job that you had at that time, you always got paid in cash. It must have been all cash.
A lot of times it was no money at all. Our manager was taking the money faster than we could make it. I'll tell you a true story. You want to know a rock and roll story? We were playing the Princeton. You ever hear of Princeton University?
I have.
A big college in New Jersey, one of the most famous. We're playing the Princeton prom. The manager comes with us, okay? The manager was in his 60s, okay? And we never trusted him anyway. And he came with us, but he always had to go outside the building and get himself a cup of tea and lemon, you know. There's a man in his 60s and we're teenagers. And that night they had Les Brown's Band of Renown. Did you ever hear of Les Brown? Les Brown was Les Brown, big 16-piece band. I mean, legendary in this country. Did all work with Bob Hope, if you ever heard of him.
Yeah.
Did all the military tours with Bob Hope. Les Brown. We're in the gymnasium at Princeton University. Les Brown's on one end with a 16-piece band. On the other end, behind the basketball court, is another big band. And each of the quarter courts, right? We're on one side, Chuck Berry's on another, and other groups, right? So we didn't have to play very much that night, you know. Each group played about half hour, 20 minutes, and that was all. So while the manager would always tell us we were a bunch of bums, bunch of cripples, he would call us. You guys are no good, you stink, you know. This is the way he kept us under control. And we were kids, you know, okay, you know. And he told us that night we were going to get $300 for the entire group. Okay, that's how much we were going to get, $300. So we said, okay, you know, the young kid, he wasn't a young kid, he was in the college, but he was a student. Because we get off the bandstand early, he comes over with a clipboard and he said, I want to give you your check now. I said, well, our manager's out getting tea. No, you take it and give it to him. Sign off here. He hands me a check for $2,500 and we're getting $300. So that was the straw that broke the camel's back and just about broke the manager's back.
Look, I don't know what to say, you know, but that's a lot of money. That's really a lot of money for back then.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. We were getting a lot of money back then. Yeah. Yeah.
What else did you buy? I'm just saying, the best clothes?
No, you know, but the reality was the managers really did a number on us, you know. We didn't come from any kind of families. Our parents couldn't afford a lawyer, you know. When I was a boy, I grew up in a house with no telephone. You know, we didn't own the house. We didn't have a car. Never went on a vacation. Wore all hand-me-down clothes like so many people. And I'm not putting that down, but I'm saying our parents came from the Great Depression, where they had no jobs and no money. And it was we were all on a comeback trail, you know. So everybody was trusting everybody that they would treat us like. But these guys didn't treat us right, you know.
I get it, but you know what the main thing is? The main thing is that you bought a car for your dad, you helped out the family, and you know what? Yeah. You did it yourself and made the money on your own. I mean, that's like, you know, standing on your own feet and doing that at that time. That must have been totally amazing.
Well, it was, I didn't really think anything of it because in my family, it was one for all and all for one, you know. By that time, we owned half, or my dad owned half of a two-family house, you know. And we were there. We thought we were living on Easy Street, you know. It had 2 bedrooms, you know, and this beat-up old house. We thought we were living like kings, you know.
Well, I just want to thank you, Tom. You know, it's been a fascinating interview. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And, I mean, you don't hear stories like this every day. And I tell you what, you may have written short shorts, but I know how great that song is in the culture, and especially in the UK, right? Seriously. That is like an anthem in the UK, thanks to Freddie and the Dreamers. That's true.
Well, maybe you guys could get us. Maybe you guys could get us over in the UK to play. We got the band now. Go on our website, The Royal Teen. You got to say "the" up front. If you just say Royal Teens, the last I tried that, you get some porn site in Canada. you know. So you got to say the Royal Teens, you know.
I love that, the Royal Teens. Thanks again, Tom. Keep watching Plastic EP. He's got so many fascinating guests coming up. And it's been a pleasure to have you on, Tom. I mean that from my bottom of my heart because I'm a big fan of short shorts. You got no idea.
And please listen for our new record, Party at the Jersey Shore. You guys got to start asking for it at your radio stations. Okay.
And also go to the website. Give them the website one more time. And hopefully you'll have the song up on the website soon so they can hear it.
TheRoyalTeens.com.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
See everyone.
My
We
pleasure.
love you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Pleasure. What a legend. A real rock and roll legend.